everybody. Welcome to another episode of Think Your Way to an Epic Life. My next guest, Zachary Leyden, is quite the man. He is a veteran and his business is all about horses, but really it's all about veterans. It's his way of giving back to veterans, and any veteran can ride any day for free, and it overlooks the ocean in San Francisco. I mean, come on guys, it's like 3 minutes from the zoo. It's an incredible property. The thing that you've got to listen for is if you know veterans, anyone who is into the equine world, he has offered on this podcast, the first 4 people that call him, something very special at the end of this. So please check it out, enjoy, and share it with any veterans that you know. I'm sure they'd appreciate it as well. So Zachary, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here. Always excited to share my story and hopefully help others.
Well, it seems like you're already helping a lot of others, and I'm very grateful that I get to be someone that helps to share this story because this is so incredible and so immense. I do want to kind of start, where were you born and raised?
Yeah, for the majority of my life, I was in the Sacramento area, Roseville. So that's the majority. I spent some time in Montana, and then when in the military, North Carolina was my stationed area, and a little bit of time in Afghanistan. That's about it.
Okay, so North Carolina's going through some stuff right now. Were you stationed anywhere near any of the real destruction?
I was stationed at it used to be called Fort Bragg. I think they changed it recently to something else. And that was pretty central North Carolina. I think that some of the biggest devastation's happening up in the mountains, which is bizarre, but I'm pretty far from that right now. I hope that everything works out over there. My blessings are going out there. Hopefully they're fine, but I don't know much about it. So.
Okay. Just a side note, because you mentioned North Carolina and we've got a lot of that going on. So what branch of the military were you in, Zachary?
Yeah, I was in the Army. I was in a long range reconnaissance or long range surveillance unit. And I deployed to Afghanistan, and coming back from that, it was a great push to have me help others. I came back with some PTSD, some issues of my own. Tried to move into society normal. Didn't do that too well, and found that horses helped me heal. And then I kind of wrapped my whole life around that and started businesses with horses, and tried to find a way to help others see the healing part of horses, just like I did.
Okay, so before that, you had no exposure to horses?
No, I had exposure. There was a girl in high school that liked horses. I liked the girl. So, I got involved with horses, and then, I kept them in and out of my life, pretty much from high school on, competed a good amount. So it wasn't just like I jumped into horses. They just happened to be something I had a skill set in. So there was a time where somebody gave me an opportunity to help him tip some Mustangs, because I had some prior knowledge on how to work with horses. I went and helped him, and it helped me get more present. So I was able to focus on what was going on right then, instead of having my mind stuck in the past or thinking about the future. I was just right there. And it was one of the first times in a long time that I felt present and happy. And so that was something I was able to move forward with.
So how long after you left the military did you make this discovery of, wow, I'm here now. This is awesome?
When I first got out of the military, I was going to college, and I was, falling into my own internal issues. But I was still, I thought that the answer was to go back in the military. So I went into the reserves, thought that was going to help. And it wasn't the same. It didn't have the same feel as like when you're a part of a small team, and you had a true purpose. The reserves is kind of just like, weekend warrior a little bit for me in that situation. It didn't hit as hard, I guess, or maybe I was just already so far in my own mind that it couldn't have helped. So it was, probably a year and a half, 2 years out of the active military, trying a bunch of different things. Then a gentleman gave me the opportunity to help him with the horses. And every time I was with them, everybody would tell me that they saw a better version of me, that I was more present, that I was more happy. So the days I was with them, they're like, oh, there's old Zach, charismatic and happy. And the days I wasn't working with horses, I was a little bitter and rude. So
Wow, that is such a great observation. I my real estate team was helping the Boys and Girls Ranch, and they use horses, and they were telling me that when these kids were just like so upset and so tense and they'd be around the horses would come and they'd be with them, and then the horse would just lay their head on their shoulder, and the kid, that was when they knew. It was like there's something magical about them. What is that, Zach?
the horses are kind of a reflection of you. So you can't get, if you go in there and you're lying about your day. So here's a good example. Let's say that you're going to the stables, and somebody cuts you off and you're irritated and you're frustrated with that person who cut you off, and you pull into the stables, and that's in the back of your head. You're like, fine, I'm with the horses now. You're going to get a reflection of that, and the horse is going to be standoffish, and it's going to not work with you just as well, because your mind's not here in that present moment. Your mind's frustrated with that, and they don't know, they can't figure out why you're frustrated, but you are a predator, you're an animal, and you're frustrated and mad, and you're coming into this environment, and they can read your emotions, they can read your body language, and they're like, okay, this thing's going to eat me, or something along those lines. They're going to see that as there's probably something wrong with this person, and maybe I should stay away from him, something along those lines. Now, if you go in there and you're perfectly present, and you're actually in there to do what's best for the horse, and you're coming in with an objective, because everything you do with the horses, you're going to make them either a little better or a little worse every time you work with them. And if you can't tell me exactly how you made them better, yeah, you've probably made them worse. Because again, they're very honest, they're very present, and they work off those emotions. So if you go in there and you're already upset, you're going to have that reflection. If you go in there and you're present and you have a purpose, and your purpose is maybe just to get this horse to get along a little better, or to hook on with you, or maybe you just want to get them to disengage the hindquarters because they're a little locked up. Whatever it is, if you go in there with that purpose and that presence, and you put in the right pressure and release at the right time, you're going to get the right results, and they're going to be happier for
it. So the horse is your coach.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Wow. What do you know? I don't know if you know. I'm sorry to throw this in there, but I'm just real curious about this. Do you know the intelligence level of horses? Like they say a cat is like a whatever year old, or
Yeah. I would say that they're probably somewhere around like a 3-year-old in that sense. They have the second best memory in the animal kingdom. So they don't forget anything, but their timelines are kind of skewed. If you dealt with them today, and a couple years later they had a good experience with you today, and a couple years later you come back, they're going to remember that, and that timeline is not quite the same in their mind. They can play, and they can mess around, but everything that happens to them is the truth. And that's where, like, they don't lie. Horses are as honest as they come. If a horse is pinning its ears, you throw your saddle on them, you get everything cinched up, and that horse is pinning its ears and it's looking back, but that's not typical behavior. Well, then he's being honest at that exact moment. Chances are, if you just check your pad or your cinch, there might be a spur or burr or something in there that's irritating him. Because again, they're honest and they're present. So if they're telling you something because of what's going on right then. Same thing with how you work with a horse. They're so present and they're so honest that, let's say that you are grooming a horse, and that horse just kind of leans on its side a little bit, but the person who's grooming it thought that was it trying to turn its rear towards it. So you step away. Well, you just release pressure, and that horse thinks to himself, because they're very true and present to the moment, oh, you want me to lean into you. And so then the next person who comes up there and grooms that horse, he's going to be like, oh, I know what this guy wants. He wants me to lean into him. And so now that horse turned its rear into that person a little bit more, and that person goes, whoa, and steps back and releases, and the horse is licking and chewing. He's like, okay, cool, I get the game. So the next person who comes up there and starts grooming the horse, right away, that horse turns its rear into him. And he's like, oh my God. And then he maybe spanks him because he doesn't understand what's going on. Now the horse is like, oh, I probably didn't do that fast enough. So the next person who comes over, he's going to turn his rear into him right away. and that person's going to try to get this out of him if he doesn't know how to train right. So then maybe he spanks him, and that horse is like, I just don't get it. So maybe I'm not doing the right thing. So then the next time the person comes over, he turns real quick, he spanks him a couple times, and then the horse maybe gets irritated and kicks a little bit, not kicking him, but just kicks a little bit because he doesn't understand what's going on. And that person stops and says, oh my God, that was awful. So now that horse said, okay, I get it. What you want me to do is turn my rear into you and then kick at you. I get it. This is it. I'm happy to do what you want me to do. So the next person who comes up to him, he turns his rear to him and then he kicks at him. He's like, that's what you want. And this guy freaks out and he whips him. And then the horse is like, oh, I maybe didn't kick hard enough. I don't know. So then he turns his rear at him, at the next person. He kicks even harder. And this person steps away because now this horse is unruly and it's kicking at me. But what the horse is doing is being absolutely honest in the moment and doing exactly what the humans have asked him to do. But we as humans need to think like a horse, not like humans, because now we're thinking this is a bad horse that's kicking at me every time I come there. But in reality, we created that.
I think we create that in all of our relationships, horses, other people, we don't communicate very clearly. And so horses are your coach, and they're teaching you to be better communicators. And so you were in the military, you got out of the military, and then you transitioned into the horses. So you have a huge business. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so getting out of the military, was going to college, and then I was also, cowboying and competing, and I found a way to kind of add my two some of my skill sets from the military and my skills with horses together. I started packing people in for hunting trips. So I knew land navigation, I knew how to track, and then I also knew how to work with horses. So my first business was bringing people in and tracking the animals and giving them the opportunity to hunt, then pulling their game out with the horses. And that was the start. Then expanding from that, we started a wilderness kids camp experience where we could take kids in, teach them land navigation, teach them how to ride horses, let them do a whole camping experience out in the wilderness with some professional guides and some counselors. And that was the next step. That went really well. That was crazy. We could talk how these things progressed for days. Some of it is, just fake it till you make it, and some of it is some serious skill. But then from there we started a trail business, and then we went from that trail business to getting a huge contract from a city on a huge 300-acre facility, and from there went to a winery, turned that into a winery horse facility, and then from there we just bought the facility in San Francisco about a year and a half ago.
So tell us where it's located.
Yeah, we're 3 minutes from the San Francisco Zoo, right off the skyline, with unobstructed views of the ocean and trail rides down to the beach. We have a 6,000 square foot horse barn, and then outside paddocks, and two arenas, or two round pens, one arena, and then a house on the property. It's a really nice setup. We do trail rides to the beach, lessons. The lesson program we have is an academy, so we have a whole program from never riding all the way to getting you to competition ready, and we'll sponsor you with our horses and our tack to go to competition. So we do the whole progression from never ridden to competition. And then we have leasing programs, boarding programs, kids camps. So anything horses, we do it. We're putting pods on the back so people can stay overnight as well. And then we are putting a permanent food truck on the property to do barbecue cookout style food on property, and that's happening in the next couple of months. So it'll be a tiny guest ranch in San Francisco.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is so beautiful. And the things that my listeners don't know about this incredible, incredible place where you can go and recreationally ride horses on the beach and do all this stuff is that if you're a veteran, you can go there and ride for free every once in a while.
Yeah, so military veterans can ride for free as often as they want. So when you go to our site and you go through the process of choosing the lessons or the trail ride that you want to do, it'll ask if you're a veteran and if you have proof of being a veteran. And so long as you have proof, then you can, it'll cut the price to zero and you'll be able to ride and enjoy the facility and enjoy the horses for free. And the goal on that, and the reason is horses saved my life. They brought me back to present and back to happy and back to who I am, from a pretty dark place to I have a young daughter and beautiful wife and a very happy family. And I don't think I would have had any of that if I didn't have the horses bring me back. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to get other veterans to see that experience, see how horses can heal and help, and cut the red tape. So you don't have to go through the VA. You don't have to tell somebody that you have PTSD, because I wouldn't have done that when I was younger. When I got out of the military, I was too headstrong, too bold to say that I had a problem. It wasn't until years later that I looked back and said, man, I had PTSD, and thank God I found the horses. But for most veterans who are in my position coming back, they're too strong, or too afraid to, or maybe they don't even know that they have a problem. And so let's not make you have a problem. You don't need to prove or tell the VA that you have a problem. You just go there and enjoy the horses, and you can come as often as you want. You don't even have to ride. You could just sign up for it and say, hey, I just want to stay and pet the horses. I don't care. Enjoy the horses. It's a part of what I, provide without red tape.
Man, how does that feel? I mean, you know how much of an impact and how powerful it was for you, Zach. How does that feel to be able to offer, to have the ability? I mean, because there's a lot of people who want to help and they can't. And you have the ability and you are. How does that feel to be able to do that for people?
It feels good, but from the beginning, it was always a goal of mine. At first I wanted to start a therapy program, at least I thought, with horses. Then it came down to looking at the bureaucracy of it and the red tape and all the compliances to make that happen. And it's like, well, then fine, I'll start a for-profit business and veterans can just ride. And I did that pretty early on when I was still very young in business. When I didn't have enough money I was eating top ramen and my horses were eating like kings. And we were struggling to make it all work, and we're still letting veterans ride for free. I remember, some of my teammates would come up and be like, dude, you have 12 veterans coming out riding, and we only have 2 actual paying customers. So we're not going to make any money. Like, you got to stop this program. I was like, no, it's okay. We're going to keep doing it because that's the whole point of this. But then those 12 veterans who they came back with their families. They told their friends. And so while I did something that, without anything other than I wanted to help these people, it turned out that was a big part of why we were able to push and grow as a business. So.
Wow. And that is always the way it is, isn't it? When you want to just give selflessly, completely, you get so much more back. Like you can't outgive God or the universe or whatever it is your belief is. That is so cool. So now that the business started with 2 paying customers and 12 veterans, thank you so much for doing that. Where are you today?
We've had our ups and downs. We've gone to the pinnacle of success in the horse industry. Then, right around COVID, flopped back down, and then quickly within months built ourselves back up, at a new facility. And as of now, through all of the ups and downs of business, I have a multi-million-dollar horse facility in the Bay Area. Some amazing staff. I mean, the staff that I have is unparalleled. They're amazing. I kind of hired myself out of a job. That's how
Right
good these
on.
people are. Yeah, and they just love horses. They love the experience. We have, this last year, we've had this facility for a year and a half, and we had maybe over 4,000 people come ride with us this last year. So it's we're in this. This is early stage for this new venture. The reason that we're successful is a lot of things. We do help. We let veterans ride for free, which is amazing. But it's also the business practices. I'm a big fan of software and technology and having good SOPs. So I have a really amazing software management set, and we have great organization, and that's really one of the structural pieces that makes it so that I can have a passion project like this be very successful.
So leveraging with people, but also leveraging with tech.
Yeah, you need to.
It's the world we're in. It really is, because if you're not, your competition is, and you will be left in the dust for sure. I would think you really don't have any genuine competition. I mean, what you're doing is so unique, and where you're located is so special.
Yeah, I mean, there is broad broadly competition, but early on in my career here, I was one of the first people in California to have book online software in my horse, experiences, which was a amplifier. So the people who were my competition, took them a long time to catch up on that end, and some of them still haven't. But in the Bay Area in general, there's not another opportunity where you as a non-rider can come in and experience this and grow in your horsemanship. A lot of places that have really amazing trainers, those trainers don't want to deal with people who have never ridden horses. So there needs to be somebody who can get them to that point where then I could pass them on to my friends that are top-notch better trainers. They also typically, other trainers want you to have your own horse. So we've built a system in which we can allow you to use our horses through this process of getting you never ridden to a point where you have foundational horsemanship skills, to the point where I can bring you to some club shows and you can get your feet wet in competition. And then, of course, pass you on to my peers that are outstanding trainers in their own very specific niches. I'm a universal horsemanship person. I believe in being good on all levels, but I'm not like niched down on one. So there are people who do that, who don't want to deal with people at the lower level.
Well, Zachary, you have created something that is so incredible. You have democratized horsemanship that people could not possibly do it. A lot of people who come to you could not possibly do it. They couldn't buy a horse, have a place, or put them somewhere and pay that and all that. This is very cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's your favorite part about this business?
I mean, of course, the horses. That's the best part. There's not a lot of options in which I could have imagined having 25 horses that I own myself. Like horses are very expensive. Most people have one, maybe two, if they have horses at all. And it's an expensive thing. So I found a way to where I get to train horses, turn them into amazing horses, and not have to sell them. Because early on, when I was doing this, I thought I would be a horse trainer and I would build a horse into something that was, soft and good at its discipline and then give it to somebody else. But really, it's my wife who doesn't want to give up the horses. I'm like, well, we have a lot of horses. This one is way too trained to be good at this thing. So let's sell it. And she's just like, well, no, how about we just create another portion of our business in which we can do higher level lessons? So I was like, okay, I guess we could do that.
I
So
love
we put
her.
together, yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we don't really sell horses. That's not a thing that we do. We just create more business opportunities as the horses go niche into other fields. So,
Okay.
but I love
Okay.
the horses. The horses are the best part.
Well, okay. So I am a business owner and it is hard. And you did allude to that several times. That's like the ups and the downs and then the ups and the downs and you're in the valley of despair. And it's like, what about all that stuff? It is tough to be in business. What advice do you have for other vets that want to start a business?
Um, yeah. So starting a business is obviously incredibly hard. And so first you have to deal with, okay, I want to start this business, and you put it on paper and you build out the plan. SOPs are everything. So as you build it, put your mind on paper, constantly put your mind on paper, because eventually you're going to need to get employees. But let's just go a step before that. The first despair that you're going to run into is everybody kind of chuckling at what you're trying to do. I came out of the military, was going to college for computer science or whatever, and I'm like, I'm going to be a cowboy full time. Everyone's like, okay, Zach, you're going to be a cowboy. And so, then you have people that are pushing back. Family members saying, hey, stop this silliness, go back to school, finish it, get a real job. And so the first thing that you're going to run into is people telling you this isn't real. You can't do this. Why do you think you can do this? And then once you get a little bit further, and then you hit a couple pieces of success, you still don't get the praise. It's like, well, Zach got lucky. He got lucky, but still you should get your other, thing. And then you make it a little bit further and maybe you get some contracts. And then they're like, but he doesn't actually have a business. He's got contracts and he actually really works for these people. So then they're still pushing back. Then you make it past that hump. And then people are like, well, yeah, no, Zach's, of course Zach can do that. And you still don't get praise on that end. It's like, yeah, no, he's always been doing that. Yeah, so you go from nobody ever believes in you, and everyone's pushing back to finally you hit a point where everyone's like, yeah, but he's always done this. So like there was never a point where they're like, yeah, congratulations, you're actually good at that. It's like they go from never believe in you to, yeah, but I never believed in you for 3 years. So yeah, he's always been doing this. And now once you're at this point, you still have to climb. And by the way, the climbing is always the most fun when you're finally at the top. But you got to climb, and then you're really good at what you do, and you're now making money. And then the next big hurdle is other people are going to see that you're good at what you do, and they're going to want to hire you to do what you do, but for them. And if you fall, because it's really nice to look at you're struggling eating top ramen while your horses are eating well, your business is growing, but you have to throw everything back into it to grow it into the business that you want it to be. And then somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I've got this dude ranch over here. I see what you're doing. I would love to pay you 6 figures to manage my facility and just be my general manager for this. And then you're like, fuck, I have starting a family here. I that money sounds really good. I'm eating top ramen. You have to say no, and that's really hard. And then you have to say no again and again, because as you go up, people are going to see you and people are going to want to hire you. And if you say no enough times, you'll finally get to the point where you're eating well. And then you make it to the top, and you look back, and it was really fun to get there. So then, if you're like me, who likes the struggle, then you're like, okay, well, maybe let's do it bigger. And so I always think back at the spots that I was at where I thought I just hit the pinnacle of success. This is amazing, and I'm here. Like the first time I hit that was when I made enough money to not have to worry about spending money. Like I could buy gas, I could buy food. I didn't have to worry about any of this. I just swiped the card, and I knew it was going to be in there. But I didn't have employees at this time. It was like me and my brother and my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, and we were just kind of running this thing together and we turned this into something pretty amazing. And we're like, yeah, we hit it. Then my wife wanted to live closer to her family, and I like to problem solve. So I was like, okay, I found a contract where we could concession close to Kalea's family. So we dropped our business, rebuilt again over there, but then did it bigger. And we had employees, and we turned this from being just a 3-person project to I had 15, 20 employees, 70 horses on the facility. Like we blew it up. And then I look back at that last accomplishment. I was like, wow, that's nothing. I was little. And I thought I was at the peak of success. And then I was over here and I'm like, I'm at the peak of success. This is awesome. But I still was involved in everything. And if I left for vacation even once, the whole thing crumbled. And then I had to come back and put all the pieces together. So I was like, okay, my SOPs aren't great. Then from there, we ended up around COVID, that whole thing had to get shut down. We had to restart. Now, the second time I restarted, I didn't build it around me. I built the business around the brand of the name of the business, and I'm just this outsider who comes in every once in a while, because before it was built around like Leyden horsemanship and my horsemanship and me, and I couldn't leave because everybody wanted to be involved with me. The next time I built it around the business itself, built it same way, same SOPs, but it's not my horsemanship, it's the facility's horsemanship, and it's the employee's horsemanship. And this time I was able to leave for vacations. And so then I looked back at the last time and like, man, I thought I was at the pinnacle of success, but now I get to go vacation. This is awesome. But I had partners on that one, a lot of partners, to make this thing work. And I didn't get along with them as well as I wanted to. So I got out of that one. And then I bought the place in San Francisco with only one partner, me and him. And this guy's my best friend, and we both get along very well, and we complement each other. So I found the problem there, and I rebranded again. And now the horsemanship is based on the business. The program is based on the business. My employees get all the glory, but they're doing it off of the SOPs and the systems that I put in place. And now I have a partner that I love, and we're doing amazing. And him and his wife and me and my wife, we all get along very well. And now I've hit another level of success. And I look back at the last one, I'm like, that was not the pinnacle. Here I am here now, and this is amazing. And now I'm just excited for what my next climb is going to be.
And that's my next question.
Yeah.
You're not
What is it?
you're not done. What's next?
No. Next is consulting. So I've done this over and over and over again. So I plan on building out a consulting business for agriculture and horse businesses, where if you want to learn how to do this, I will, help you at whatever scale you want, whether that is setting up the SOPs and business management software for you, or going in there and putting together all the SOPs and restructuring your business in a way that's successful, or putting together training plans for you so that you can get your horses to be able to do the things that we're doing. So I think that my next step, now that I've hired myself out of a job, is to help other people do so as well.
Wow. And maybe you have a special place in your heart for veterans?
Always, always a special spot in my heart for veterans. Yeah, the veterans ride for free at the place. I don't know if I can give all my time for free the same way to veterans, but I can definitely, you know, help. And I think that if a veteran came to me and said that they wanted to build something off of a passion similar to this, and they were willing to give veterans the opportunity to ride free at their facility, I would probably be willing to do a lot of work for very little. So.
Yeah. Yeah. You've given, you've given, but every time you give, it comes back to you. It's like, one of my favorite people, Brian Buffini, says, you give it out in slices and it comes back in loaves. And you are living, you keep hitting these pinnacles and finding out, oh no, there's more. Oh no, there's more. And isn't that cool, Zach, when you, it's like you climb, and then you like push that little thing open and you look and you're like, oh my gosh, there's all this other stuff I didn't even know about. It's really, I get to learn more and do more. Okay. So veterans that would be interested in starting a business, you're going to do a consulting for that, but you're not consulting just for if I want to open a restaurant or something.
I am good at what I do, and sure, I could help you put systems in place, softwares in place, get you a business management platform for your restaurant. But it's not my passion. I won't have fun with that. And again, I'm now at a point where I've kind of gotten myself to a point in my life where I can choose what I want to do. And what I want to do is still help veterans, which that is amazing. And if a veteran wants help, I would even say this is coming out. The first 4 veterans who come to me, I will help for free on everything. As far as my time is concerned, you still need to pay for the platforms and pay for the systems that make your system run. And this is my consulting, not my horse training. So if you need me to train your horses, that's a whole other thing. But I'm happy to help. I really would like to see more people do this. When it comes to like the again, I get to choose what I want to do. I would like to help with horse businesses. I think that the furthest outside of that scope would be agriculture. Like if you have a cattle business, I could help you. If you want to put better structures in place and find a way to monetize it better. But I've spent a decade building systems in the horse industry. I have every SOP that you can think of in every branch of the horse industry that you can think of. I know how to build out the marketing and do some guerrilla warfare in the marketing side of things, along with like your SEO is important and getting yourself to a point where you exist very heavily in your local community. These are things that I know how to do in the horse industry. The business management software, I could do that for anybody, but that's not fun. The fun stuff is turning somebody who has a training program where they have 2 horses and themselves, and they have maybe 5 clients, and show them how they can turn that into a sustainable business for them and their family and grow it. So.
Okay, so my hope is that all of you guys that are listening or watching that care about veterans, that you will pass this on to as many people as you can, that you will let them know that there is a man who has been there, done that, and is incredibly successful. And he has just offered to help the first 4 veterans if they want to do the same kind of a thing where they're going to let veterans come ride for free. He's offering his time, which let me tell you guys, we could not put a price on his time right now. Like it would be so astronomical if you had to pay this man by the hour. Yet he's willing to help you. Why? Because you're going to go help other veterans. So in that light, Zachary, what other ideas do you have for anybody that owns a business, whether they're a veteran or not, that cares about veterans, that could do something similar to what you're doing in the horse industry that would really help them?
Yeah, let's just go off of veterans and just talk about communities then, because the veteran is my community that I decided to help. But if you here's a good example. Have you guys heard of Tom's Shoes?
Oh yes,
Have you
yes,
heard of
yes,
Tom's Shoes?
yes.
Yeah.
Buy one get one.
So you buy one and then they give one to
Give
a
one.
to a
Third world country, right?
third world country. Yeah. So that in itself, his tribe or the group that he decided to help was third world countries. And so you buy a shoe and then he helps the third world country by giving them shoes. And so you get to see that you're helping. In my case, you come and pay for a ride, and then you're basically making sure that my veteran community is able to ride for free. The business needs to keep running so that the veterans ride for free. If you're not a veteran and you pay for this, well, you're helping keep the veterans for free, to ride for free. So it doesn't matter if it's the veteran community or if it's third world countries, or if it's that you want to help single mothers, prosper. Whatever it is, you could find a community that is close to your heart, and then whatever your hobby or your niche or the thing that you want to do, build a business around it, and then give back. You always get back tenfold when you give, for the right reasons, of course. So you don't need to be veteran based if you're not a veteran, or if you have some other focus that is true to your heart, like if you want to help single mothers, or if you want to help people get off of substance, or whatever it is that your thing is that you're focusing on. Build your business, and then make it kind of like a nonprofit, where the goal is to help these people while building your passion and your business. If you put those two together, you're a sure win.
Absolutely, a sure win. Gosh, I can't thank you enough. What questions have I not asked you that I should have?
Oh, it's your show. You
Yeah,
it's
well, I mean,
I
is there something that's burning that that we would want to know that I just haven't thought of?
I mean, I guess the business name is Ocean View Stables,
That's
so
a big
I
one.
didn't put
That's
that
a
out
big one.
there. Yeah, and then the consulting company will be horses. Yeah, horses dot business, and that's probably a couple months in the works right now. So I probably will have that launched out by the new year.
Okay. Okay. And the show is called Think Your Way to an Epic Life. So what's one last piece of advice that you have for our folks to help themselves think their way to an epic life?
I've a very I'm more fortunate than I deserve. I have a good life, and it took constant struggle, and then looking back, the struggle is a lot of fun. So I push into pressure constantly, and I'm not. I don't. You know. I'm. I guess here's a good thing that I always do, and this is maybe a philosophy that's helped me be a successful person. If I put it out in the universe, I do it. And as long as it doesn't hurt me or hurt others, I do it. And that's for everything. Years ago I said that I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym every morning. And since I said it, I'm doing it. And it's sometimes I wake up and I don't want to, but I do it. I wake up every morning and I do that. And if I have friends that go to the gym with me, and as we're working out, just to put it on a small scale, and this works on all scales, if one of them says, "Oh, should we do abs?" Well, you put it in the universe that we're doing it. It doesn't matter what it is. When I put it in the universe, I do it. And I said I was going to graduate and go to school for computer science, and it took me 10 years to do so, because I could only do one class at a time because I was building businesses. But I put it in the universe. I said I was going to do it, and so I did it. I just did it way longer than it typically was, but a normal person would. But I told myself I was going to do that. I put that in the universe, and I finished, and I followed through. Um, I said that I was going to go work for a fortune or a large corporation in the tech industry. It was something I said I was going to do, and so I do that now. I work for a tech company. If I say I'm going to do something, as long as it doesn't hurt others or hurt myself, I really try to make it reality. And that is probably why I have a high level of success, because if I put it out there, I will suffer to make the thing happen. So
Wow. So that sounds like a key, at least a key to your success.
I would say so. Yeah.
Why is that so important to you that once you have said something, no matter what, it's going to happen? Where does that come from?
Yeah, maybe the military. I don't know, because I did it in the military too, but I think I did it before. I joined the military and I had specific goals, and it doesn't matter where I weaved and went, I focused on it and I got it done. I don't know where that philosophy came from. I'm not sure where it all stemmed from, but I'm pretty heavy and strong on following through with it. And I think that my wife keeps me accountable on it, because we both live by the same philosophy. So if something gets put out for either one of us, we hold each other to it. And then there's a timeline. Like it took me 10 years to get the degree. It's my goal in the tech industry is I want to be VP. I want to get to vice president in a corporate setting, in tech. And then, I get to create a new goal after that. But that's where I'm at on this side of things. And then as far as my horse business, I have a specific number that I want to hit before, I'm all said and done and retired on that end. Then it's the consulting. I have very specific goals that I want to hit inside consulting. And I set these large goals that are very high. And then it doesn't matter how long it takes. I have a lifetime to get there. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get there.
I love that. You are really, I'm so glad that you came to be on Think Your Way to an Epic Life. We appreciate you. We'll put all your links below so people can find Ocean View Stables. So close, so close. And please, guys, do go. Anytime you go to San Francisco, make this one of your stops. I guarantee you next time I go, I will be coming and taking a ride, because you're not just taking a ride for recreation. You're also making sure somebody else gets to take one. And what a cool way to do business. Zachary, thank you for just like all of your wisdom, just so freely. You gave it all away, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries. I hope that some of that made sense.
So. Yeah. Most of it was pretty coherent.
All right. Good.
All right. Thank you, sir.